A Joker Dragon. McFarlane Toys made a goddamn Joker Dragon. Now, I am familiar that Joker Dragon is taken from the Dark Knight's Metal line, or rather, storyline, and he exists within that comic canon. But, of course, McFarlane would be like, that looks badass, that looks gothic, that looks dark, that looks over the top. Let's make a figure out of it, right? Or at the very least, a vehicle sort of figure, because it's kind of where Joker Dragon kind of lies in. It's not so much a figure as he is kind of somewhat a vehicle. He's even packaged like a vehicle in that cylindrical kind of hot dog style box instead of the traditional McFarlane Toys action figure. So I am interpreting it as a vehicle. Outside of that, there's really not much more that I can tell you about this guy except that he is a Joker Dragon. I'm not even going to bother with the comics lore. I'm not even going to bother with how he's infused inside of the Dark Knight's Metal line. It's just Joker as a dragon, because why the f not? So McFarlane went ahead and made him into a figure, as you can see right here. So there's not much in the ways of him being an actual figure. He's more so of a vehicle. He's meant to be ridden. He's meant to be some form of vessel. And as you can see, this is where this contraption, if you will, for Joker Dragon really stands out in, is rather the sculpting, the architecture, and the paint applications used to bring this guy to life. And that's exactly where McFarlane Toys is able to excel at. So he's actually on the longer side as far as from nose to tail. He's a very beefy guy. He's a very elongated guy, and as such, he actually comes in two parts when he comes in the box. You actually have to do a little bit of assembly on your part, and by assembly, I really do just mean this kind of section right here that's kind of cut off and segmented. So as you can kind of tell, this is exactly where the figure kind of separates, so you're going to have to do a little bit of work to plug him in and get him in all in one piece. The only bummer here, as I remove him, come off to the base so that we can handle him and take a deeper look at him, is that even though, yes, he's a very long figure here, or a long vehicle, this is arguably the longest vehicle that McFarlane has ever produced, but as such, you have to piece him together here, and piecing him together is not the most satisfying thing to really do here. I mean, they don't even package in any kind of instructions or any kind of methods, and I didn't really fully expect them to do so, considering how simple it is to do. It's just that when you plug it in, it doesn't really feel all that satisfying. There's no click. It doesn't feel like it's snug in there tight. It feels kind of on the, I don't want to say looser side, but it just feels like a small little tug and he'll come undone. So you just got to make sure that you affix him rather tightly, because it's not the most satisfying form-fitting kind of plug into hole contraption that McFarlane has created thus far. Once you get past that, then you'll see the finished product here, which you can see is made out of this much bulkier plastic or rubberized plastic piece, along with this elongated tail that is bendable, so you can kind of position it in a variety of ways, whether it be upwards or to either side. And again, where this figure, or I'm sorry, this vehicle really shines, it's in its sculpting, detail, and architecture. Now, one thing that I did notice upon closer inspection is that, and this is in no way, shape, or form kind of a knock against the figure, but I did closely notice that owning the mega figure, the Titan Joker, I noticed that they pretty much used the exact same kind of paint applications and plastic and even detailing amongst the textures here on the surface, very, very similar to that of Titan Joker from the Arkham Asylum mega figure version. It's almost like they pretty much took the same kind of plans, except they retrofitted it to a different mold and a different kind of layout altogether. So they did generally make a brand new figure. It's not like they, copied and pasted, but they just kind of used similar programmings as far as how to get this texture right out of the machine, and just kind of meshed it onto a brand new wireline or a brand new layout plan here to create the Joker Dragon. And again, like I said, that's not a knock against the figure. I figured, if that worked for the Titan Joker, it's most definitely going to work for Joker Dragon right here as well, because that's honestly one of the finer kind of detailings that they managed to get right. And actually, as opposed to that Titan Joker, which I kind of nitpicked about having a much more glossier finish than I would have liked, they actually went with a much more matted kind of look to the overall bulbous nature of this front part of the Joker Dragon. It actually looks really, really cool with the little spikes here kind of protruding from his belly, amongst the detail along the gills here that I covered what I'm assuming is blood. Doesn't get any more Todd McFarlane than that. And then we get to the head. The head is
Hockey pads.
awesome. Just look at that thing. It's most definitely Joker as a dragon. There's not much more that I can say, except that maybe I would have liked to have some kind of functioning eyeball system. And the only real reason I say that is because some pictures that I saw promoting the figure, especially the one that's actually on the back of the box, shows that some of the eyes are actually looking off to the side. So I don't know if they did have that functionality incorporated into the figure at one point and they abandoned it, but here we have fixed eyeballs. They don't really move. They don't really kind of gesture from side to side. They're not functionable. The only part of the head that is functionable is the mouth. So I'm kind of grateful for that. And the tongue. You can even wiggle the tongue up and down and kind of articulate it in that sense. But outside of that, it's just the mouth that opens and closes. And here's the thing, is that even though that's the only form of mobility found it kind of baked into the head, at least it's detailed and painted very, very well. The teeth, the tongue, the inside of the gums, it just looks all so grotesque and awesome. Moving past that point though, you can move the head. You are able to tilt it left to right, as you can see, kind of like right there, and then rotate it 360 degrees in place. I do kind of wish that there was a slight bit of movement getting the head to move upwards and downwards. It's a little limited on that front, but he's a Joker Dragon. He doesn't really need to be moving all that much. I do have to kind of issue a word of caution with the hairs that he's got going on here at the top, because even though they're really well sculpted, some of these pieces right here of the hair that are a little bit more on the thinner rubberized side could be a little easier to tear off if you're not careful, so just be wary of that. But outside of that, once we kind of go along the spine here of the Joker Dragon with the green spikes and the texturing here, like I said, it's immaculate. It's really well made. Outside of that, however, he is, after all, still a vehicle, and because of that, he's not really going to come much in the ways of accessories, except, of course, his translucent base here, which, frankly, I don't think it's the best base, to be quite honest. It's a little off-putting because you have one section here that's a little shorter than the other, and I had to look up pictures because there, like I said, there was no diagram or set of instructions or anything like that. Like I said, nothing elaborate, just a simple picture to kind of show me how to display. And so I just went online, found some pictures, and it shows that the highest section here is the one that's supposed to kind of keep him afloat like so, except it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't click in very well. The tail kind of gets in the way, and you need a finesse like a mother to get this guy to stand or sit appropriately on the grooves of the base here. It's not exactly the best base. I would even argue that the black ones with the pegs serve a little better with the traditional McFarlanes than even this guy. But you know what? It doesn't matter because I still have to hold on to him to demonstrate the only other form of functionality he comes with. This is something that I actually, if I didn't play with him enough, I probably would have overlooked it completely. And that is that he's got a fin here at the top. In fact, I would argue it's probably the highest, most green fin he's got here on his back that looked a little, I guess you could say, segmented from the rest of them. And so as I looked a little closer, I realized that you can actually remove this fin. It's actually situated in there rather well. I would argue that's even pressed in there a little much more firmer than the secondary part right here that I had to actually press into the rest of the body in order to get him to be complete here. But as you can see, a very tight tug, wow, a firm pull, if you will, and you can actually remove this fin. And looking inside, I just saw that it's a simple slot there. And I thought to myself, okay, what's the function behind removing this fin? The only thing I can think of is that this is honestly just a way to get the fin out of the way so that if you want to take another McFarlane figure, a traditional figure, and have that figure ride Joker Dragon here, you could pretty much do so right here. It's just that for some reason, my brain kind of started to overcomplicate things and think that maybe there's going to be another figure that has some kind of slot that pigs in there with a different form of functionality. But as it stands, it just looks like it's just a fin that you remove to make the space for a McFarlane to kind of get its legs in between right here and have him or her ride the Joker Dragon. And that's essentially really about it. Outside of that, I really haven't seen anything else that has a direct correlation with this function for the Joker Dragon. So if anybody else knows any other secondary figures that have some kind of built-in or baked-in function to fit into that slot for Joker Dragon here, please let me know in the comments below. So the way I see it is that Joker Dragon is definitely the kind of McFarlane vehicle or figure, whatever you want to presume it to be, that you really are going to want if you truly want him and added to your collection. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you love Joker, if you love the Metal Knights, if you love how hardcore McFarlane himself can kind of go with these darker look of the characters, especially with something as over the top and ridiculous as Joker Dragon, then you probably already have your mind set on him. Otherwise, if something about his appearance just looks a little off, or if you're seeing how difficult it is to place him on the base and how much I'm struggling with him here, then he's probably going to be a pass for you. All right, there we go. Again, looks awesome. It's a pain to get him to stand up, but if you get him just right, he's going to look very attention-seeking right up on your shelf. And if you guys want to pick up your own, be sure to use the links in the description below. They help with the channel quite a bit. Otherwise, check out this other McFarlane toy review right here. If you guys are brand new to the channel, I cover Batman and Spider-Man content, so if you guys are looking forward to that, make sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and as always, stay humble. I'll see you on the next one.